the majority of differences in religious approach actually in religions come from approach to religion. One of the major differences between religions and within religions is the aspect of faith and the aspect of actually doing something. So all the way through the history of even Buddhism, there was a big debate on the position of endeavor. So where to place your energies. Now some people say that there should be no doing. So you hear quite often about non-doing, and then in other traditions of the same religion you'll hear about you've really got to exert yourself 100%, and in the exerting of yourself 100% then realization can be realized, obviously. So I got some feedback. I didn't hear it directly, but I don't talk much about the sutras. Why don't I talk much about the sutras? Because if I spent a lot of time talking about the sutras, that would insult the Buddha. I would insult Shakyamuni Buddha. Why is that? Shakyamuni Buddha never wanted followers and people interpreting his words. That's not what he wanted. He wanted the living dharma, or the living truth. So what is that? What is the living aspect of Shakyamuni Buddha's life, and what did he realize? That's the first thing, is those people that really want to hear the sutras, what is it you're hearing? Are you hearing some stories of a guy that died 2,500 years ago? Does that really sustain you? Does that really bring the best out of you? Does it really inspire you to live your life in a certain way? For some people maybe that's true. But look at Shakyamuni Buddha's teachings. What was he talking about? There's several koans that go and talk about this particular question that I'm raising. One of them said, somebody asked the monk Umon, who lived in the 9th century in China, and they said, what is the lifetime teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha? And Umon said, one teaching in response. And it's true. What was the lifetime of Shakyamuni Buddha? Whenever he taught, it was in response to whatever was going on at that particular time. And then for one's own life, what is the teachings of the Buddha? Not Shakyamuni Buddha who lived 2,500 years ago, but the awakened one. That's what Buddha means. It means awakened one. Awakened to what? Awakened to the truth of one's own nature. And what is that? We wake up in the morning, and for some of us it's still dark at that point. The teachings are right there. How do you respond to the darkness? How do you respond to your own tiredness? How do you live in the midst of that? How do you bring out the best that is in you at that point? Now, sutra, whenever we talk about this word sutra, a lot of people think it's the book. It's a book. Sutra, the Heart Sutra. The Sutra of 10,000 or the 100,000 lines, let's say what do you call it? The Mahayana Prajna Paramita Sutra. 10,000 lines. But actually it's even bigger than that. One's life is that particular sutra with all of those different aspects in it. And that's not 10,000, that's not 100,000 lines, that's billions of lines. Now, you look at the word sutra, and it is the same almost as the English word suture, which is a thread that sews up, brings them into being one, like a cut in your hand. It's sewn up. Two things are brought into one, brought into unity. And again, the thing with a thread like that is like any sort of thread, is it links up. Like if you look at a zabatang, you look at a cushion, you look at the clothes that you wear, all of these threads, these little knots, all kind of woven into one thing. And because even of the organic nature, even of machines, there's difference between one part of a weave and another part of a weave. So you've got this sutra that is, links everything together. Not only does it link it in space, just like a zabatang occupies a certain space, but if you look at the threads that connect you with your environment, you see that there's no end to that woof, or that woof, whatever they call it. The woof of woof, and all of these various things that come together in these threads, the vertical and horizontal threads. You've got the basic truth that was true for Shakyamuni Buddha 2,500 years ago, which was this world. That's one thing. Same ingredients that he had. For men, women, doesn't matter what size you are. You've got all of these ingredients. The entire universe is here. That's your cloth, your broadcloth. And the threads, the embroidery that you are doing at this moment in time. These are the teachings of the Buddha that are continuing. Shakyamuni Buddha never wanted his teachings to be finite. That's one of the reasons that this thing called Buddhism, although if we get rid of that esoteric word, that foreign word from Sanskrit or Pali, whatever it was, and we just use the English words, awaken. That awakened teaching, each one of us is awakened, each one of us can perceive the truth. The power of his practice, his endeavour, has come down to this present day. And it's not that it is a thing called Buddhism, it is that there are people like yourself that are interested in illuminating this basic truth, which is your life. Again, not just once or twice, but on a momentary basis.